Everybody hit your OK button. And welcome to Worldwide Slot Car Chat on Zoom, number 214. I'm your host, Greg Gowd. The gang's all here with John and Don and John and Don and John and Don and John and Don. Let's talk about slot cars. Gio is going to talk about what's happening in the next week or so. Go ahead, Gio.
Okay, so this is the car that or the body that I'm preparing for the 24 hours of Paul Ricard. So this is going to be over the 24 hours of Le Mans digital race. So we're preparing a GT3 GTLM car. So the body is a NSR body that I modified to kind of represent the Evo version of the McLaren. The big differences are a wider front grille, different fog lights, and double fin on dive fans basically on the side. So here at the moment you can see only one, but I've modified the body to go for it. So the minimum body requirements weight for the body is around 22 grams or 22 grams actually. So, and because we want to prepare the car with lights, of course, because it has to be run over completely dark, and we need to have a bit of redundancy. So we're gonna run two light kits. So these are not mine; these are Zeta Machine ones. So I need to make the body as light as possible. So I think this was after kind of going after it with the Dremel or whatever kind of derivatives I have of that. So most of the body weight was removed from the side of the where the doors are and the vents here. So there is a plenty of plastic there. I don't know what NSR was thinking. So this is kind of the raw body. I didn't remove anything from the front because, as you can imagine, it's gonna be pretty fragile and prone to when you're gonna hit cars in front of you. And this is kind of a rough estimate of what the car would weight with some of the components. So I'm going with a kind of a bit of a random order here. So I just want to give a quick overview of what's going on. So we are doing the FAF livery. So this is the car painted with an orange base coat. I think it's TS38. I mean, this is what Amar advised us to use. It might change in the end. So I didn't mess around with the black and no black. So this is just as light as possible in terms of coat. I also left the side of the car. These white spaces here are where we're gonna put the numbers with the decals, so we can have LEDs behind it in order to kind of shine through. So this is the rear. So I kind of thinned out the exhaust pipes. So because also I don't know if you are aware, but the Zeta Machine have exhaust pipe type of flames coming. I mean LEDs. So the plan is to kind of put a couple of there. So as I mentioned, I want to go for full redundancy. So this means that during the race, you need to have at least one front light and one rear light operating all the time. So, and because we are mounting two light kits, so what I want to do is to have one light kit driving a set of front, a set of back, and the other light kit also driving another set of front, another set of back. Anyway, so these are kind of details. So these are the front elements. These are the wells lights were the main light weights with the wells where I put like two LEDs on each side. So what I did is just to kind of make the holes for where the lenses go a bit wider, and I put through my smallest LEDs that I have. So the thing is that because I don't have the decals here, so I have to prepare the car with all the lights and everything, but I need also to be able to remove some of the elements like the windows or whatever, because I need to do the decals when I'm there, and then I have to spray the clear coat. I have to make sure that everything is kind of, I can fit and remove, and so the wires are not on the way. So this is the back with just the two LEDs. So this will be like fixed, and then I put another couple of them to also simulate the brakes. This is how it's gonna look like with the double fins, the LEDs already in the main well. So the idea is to run one, I mean, these main ones for each side with one kit, and then the central fog lights and these are two side fog lights with the other light kit, so that to have a full, something happens, full redundancy. So these are the interiors after, so this is a interior that I vac formed and decorated and painted, ready to be installed. They're easy to kind of remove. I also try to make the body post of this car a bit more robust. So this is some Kevlar with the glue that I put around in order to try to reduce the amount of movements, possible breakage. So these are the front and this is the rear. Looks messy, but this is the best that I could do. So here also you can see all the wires going around. So I try to make it as clean as possible in order for me to be able to remove the or put back actually the interiors. Actually, first I need to put the lenses, I mean the windows, and then the interiors on top. So I need to have the wires going all around the body and not interfere with the interiors. So make sure. So this is the chassis that I'm using. So it's not a standard NSR chassis. This is a SRP, I believe, semi-carbo. I don't know. It's kind of one of those composite. So we're bringing like 3 different chassis at the moment. So B2 chip. And as I said, I'm not using my own light kits. I'm using the Z Machine light kit. And what I'm doing here is, sorry, I messed it up. So the light kits are taking power, one from the back, from the motor. So these would drive the brake lights and the exhaust flashing, and the other one would take power from the front, so that everything is illuminated while basically the car has a power on the truck. The light kits also have capacitors, both of them, so if the car comes off the truck and dark, you can still find it. Actually, it's part of the requirements. And what else? So this is how the car looks illuminated. I mean, this is not one of my most complex kind of in terms of LEDs, only 18 LEDs, so it's not kind of very kind of difficult, or was very difficult. It was just a matter of finding the right LEDs to fit. So this is the back. So there is 2 lights per side. So one is fixed and the other one is a brake, and kind of, and then this is one, the central one is the flashing that I always try to put in my car. And you can already see, I don't like as they come out, but I mean, I don't want to mess around because they're very small LEDs. You can see the flashing orange LEDs. So there should be videos. Bear with me if it works and doesn't work. Let's see what happens. Please not. Yeah, so let's see if it works. It doesn't work.
So just to make sure I saw what I saw, the lights are both powered directly from the guide, not the chip?
Okay. Correct, yes. So one from the guide and the other one from the motor, because the motor gives the signal when there is a brake applied. I think it's the reverse.
Yep.
So why the bloody hell is not playing a video? Okay, when here.
Yep, there it goes.
So you can see, so I kind of accelerate and then release, so brake and flashing, and then, I mean, the orange flash. So these one videos, let me see if there is the other one. So what I don't like, I don't know if it's me or something, but there is too much. So when I'm accelerating, you see the lights coming up, at least from one kit. But and when I release the throttle, basically, so there is no power coming from the motor. So which one of the kit does not get the full power, is going through the capacitor. So you see the difference in the intensity of the lights. On the other hand, the other LEDs are taking power from the kit that takes power from the guide. They are constant because I'm drawing basically power directly from the brakes.
Yeah.
I was expecting a bit more kind of a stability in terms of intensity, but I mean,
Did
so
you do it for a long time? Because the capacitors will hold more charge the longer the motor's running.
yeah, I did it for quite a while, and still, I mean, it was not basically kind of maintaining as much as I was expecting, but it's fine. I mean, so and this one it's on the other side. So I don't know if you've seen any picture of the Paul Ricard track in Belgium, Melican, but you have the Mistral Strait that is opposite of where the rostrum of the drivers is. So you will see the right hand side of the car, right, going along the straight. And so what you can see here is that this side is kind of fleshy. So I'll try to see to make it a bit more identifiable. But it was by chance or by mistake, or it's bug. I mean, it's a feature, it's not a bug, let's say, because basically the LEDs is that LED is kind of taking power from the same pads as the flashing light on the back, the red one. So the red one usually draws less power. So when that one flash on, so it's on, then the white LEDs basically shut down, and then vice versa, right? So and you have this kind of flashing effect all going on. I don't know if it's gonna drive the driver crazy, but at least it's something that is gonna be a bit unique.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's constantly flashing, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's not when you lose power, right? So
Yeah. So the question is, has has that ever been addressed in the racing spec rules?
yeah, so I look it up. So there is nothing against the flashing
Yeah, I bet there will
per
be
se.
next year. I think it's a great idea. You're going to be able to spot your car right all the time,
Well,
but
yeah, I mean the thing is that it's not a stupid like I didn't put like flashing lights on the roof like a police car, right? I mean it's still within some of the specific, yeah.
yeah.
It's not also on the front that is a flashing all the lights like a signal lights, right? So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, Tamar saw it, didn't say anything, but yeah, it could be borderline. I mean,
Yours isn't the only body, right?
yeah, correct. I mean, I think the idea here is that, uh, yeah, this body should be the one that goes over when chassis, but we have to see. I mean, we have tried to make them.
That's the idea. But if
That's
for
the
some
idea.
reason they say no, you can't run that with the flashing lights all the time, at least you got another body that's ready to go.
Yeah, so correct. And the other thing is that I'm bringing all my soldering iron, my kind of magnify shit. So if I need to kind of redo some of that stuff, I think I can. I mean, because all the wires are glued with uh, GS IPO, so it should be not that difficult to kind of
If
undo.
You can fix it.
if they restrict your flashing lights, just put a piece of electrical tape over the light. Don't worry about changing.
You're talking. No, they're not. No, he would change the light. He would change the
I mean,
wiring before he would slap a piece of tape over it.
If he has time.
Well, I mean, I still want to see the side of the car, right? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
especially going down the straight. I mean, it's not like, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, that
I
would
mean
be.
worst case scenario,
That
it
would be
was just
that would be like the race rules decided to change in the middle of the race, and they're like the only thing they could do is slap a piece of tape on it without lose. They're not going to do that. Yeah.
now there is something around the rules that says that has to be representative of the actual car. And one might say that this is not 100% correct, but I mean, there are a lot of other things that are not 100% correct, right? I mean, it's kind of approximation. Like if you think about the tail lights, I mean, they don't work really like that. They are not on and off, right? I mean, they are not, brake lights are on and off, right? Instead, this one dims down. So, one could say that it's kind of an approximation of what's going on, but yeah, I think it's going to be up to Gary. I mean, yeah, and unfortunately, it's not in my team. So,
I mean, I just have a feeling that you know, assuming that it's not disqualified for some reason and they let you race it, that next year there's going to be a whole lot of other guys doing the exact same thing, or they ban it before a whole lot of other guys do the exact same thing, just because they don't want this, you know, the distracting strobing effect of the going down the straight with the light flashing, you know, car, 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 car.
Well, yeah, but if you see, it's not super distractor. I mean,
It's no, like
this
you
is
said, it's going
subtle.
to depend on the actual event and how it looks on the track and during racing and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, I mean, I didn't put any kind of flashing lights on the roof
Yep.
or, on the front or on the back, right? I mean, it's kind of a bit on the subtle side, but, and again, it's not, it was not by design, but it's a bug. If you
Yep.
wanna,
Happenstance.
If you win, they'll ban it. If you lose, they won't care.
That's what I was
Just
thinking.
just tell them
Yeah.
that you're replicating a car with an intermittent lighting dysfunction.
that could be one. I don't know if they're allowed to run. I mean, even the real races, I don't think that they have your side number flashing, they are allowed to run. You have to bring it back and the repair. So to be fair, I don't have a very good feeling about this car. I don't think it's gonna end well, but we'll talk this after a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
yeah. So this
Good
is the
luck
first
and
time.
enjoy the race.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. No. I mean, that's kind of the main thing. And again, the Paul Ricard is freaking nice.
Yeah.
Safety.
It's a
Yeah,
long
they
way
took
to
out-
travel.
They took
Yeah.
out the chicanes on the back straight, so now it's just a continuous straight.
Yeah, correct. So,
How long does it take you to get there?
well, I mean, it's the usual 2.5 days. I mean, 2 days.
Mm,
I mean, for going to Europe is that, but I mean, I'm doing other stuff. I mean, this is kind of on the side.
Oh,
So it's kind of on top of this. So, I mean, even without the 24 hours, I was gonna travel anyway because there are
okay.
some stuff going on between New Zealand and Europe that I need to attend to.
well, absolutely looking forward to hearing more about that and maybe watching some things live. I don't know. Updates from Wayne will probably post little snippet updates, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's Wayne
Good luck.
department.
Yeah, good luck.
Oh, don't say good luck. Fuck, good luck is
again.
bad.
Break a leg.
Yeah. Just don't break a
Pop
car.
tire. Break a light.
Break a light, yeah.
All right, thanks, Gio. Did you have anything else?
No,
Okay.
that's all.
All right.
So I'm going to be here in the background. I'm not going to interrupt.
Safe
Let me
travels.
check. Can Giovanni show the driver bay again? The detail looked amazing, but couldn't really see it properly. Want to pop up the picture of the interior?
Give me a sec.
Yep.
Yeah, the driver looks really good. The paint job on the driver looks good.
It's far away, guys. I mean, it's close.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
I tried to replicate the actual driving colors that they have. I mean, I looked around and these
Are you able to
what.
zoom in at all?
Yeah, give me.
You might be able to just use your scroll wheel. There you go. Yeah, so you
It's
did
not
the
in
dash
focus.
and
Maybe
the,
that's
and the
why.
you did the stuff. You did the emergency stuff over on the side and everything.
Yeah, which is also not. It's not even correct how it's kind of placed because the actual car should have a firewall because it's a rear engine car. But NSR has this a flat side, so I didn't know where to put to put the harness on the back. So it's kind of going like this. I mean, it's not a prototypical. I mean, it should end up here behind this first bar or the rear bar behind the pilot. I mean, but yeah.
Go show those side views and 3/4 views again. Zoom in.
I don't know about 3/4. I think that these are the two only ones.
I thought I saw 3/4. Oh yeah, you got the button panel. Damn, dude.
I mean, that's nothing, man. I mean, it's kind of just the only postcard stuff for putting like it's already there.
You're
I
talking
mean,
to a guy
that's
that feels you're talking to a guy that feels proud of himself when he paints the helmet something other than white.
I mean, to be fair, what I was thinking here was to try to replicate the two screens that they have, so the dashboard and the radar one that is or the rear mirror view stuff that they have, because the Evo has both of them, but really I didn't have a freaking time because putting the LEDs, finding the actual LEDs, connecting to the pads of this Z machine kit that I'm not familiar with because it's I think the first one that I'm doing for a proper race took so much energy plus the work was going out of the roof. So I mean it's quick job, let's put it this way.
Well, the YouTubers say awesome job. Daniel Thomas on YouTube says awesome job.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
agree.
Thank you.
Alrighty, let us move along. And Dennis has his hands up, but his camera. There we go. Okay.
All right, on cue, man. I just thought I'd show this up that I finished this morning. I've had this white kit sitting here for a while. It's the slotted Orica. And what I'm doing with it now is just getting it ready for when let's get a little more light on it. There we go. Getting it ready for when the decals arrive from Patos. Getting a set of Australian decals. Doing the presentation version of the car, so it's black with the presentation version had like little lines on it, like the tracks on a circuit board, and seeing as this is an Orica 07 is the model number, they had 07 as the race number in this kind of coral blue or whatever you call that color. So I decided to do the mirrors in that color. Just finished it this morning, and now I'm just waiting for the decals to arrive. When they do, I'll show you the rest of it.
Is it kind of like the Mercedes Sauber in the Group C?
Yeah, it's not quite as fancy, but it's close.
Yeah.
And it's a little finer. I thought about doing them by hand, but I think it would be too much of an issue. Anyway, I'll dig up a photograph of that and show it off.
Cool.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Looking forward to seeing that. And Don is next on my screen. Go ahead, Don.
Well, last October, I had Greg print me some of his polycar to Scalextric adapters. And this is my use of them, of putting border straights on both sides of them and making it to where it's just like one piece to make it a lot easier just to put into the layout.
Nice.
I've already got two of them on the track. They seem to work fine. I would have already had these on there, but I wanted to show you guys. So
really good.
Yeah, looks great.
Yeah.
Did you have to do anything special, or was it pretty much just plug it and then stick the tape on?
well, the tape I got is supposed to have conductive adhesive on it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not all that conductive. So the edges, I'd have to mess with a little bit. Once I got it to make contact, it works. So, and it may become a little bit more conductive as it runs too. So,
I mean, what we used to do for the non-conductive tape is poke a bunch of holes, with a real sharp point, or do a bunch of cuts with a sharp knife. So you're basically forcing the copper through the adhesive to touch the rail below. So
well, I guess in a way that's what I did on a couple of them. It's funny, one strip would work fine, the next one wouldn't make contact. So
yeah,
I figured parts of the tape had thicker adhesive on it than others, which is what might have been causing the problem. I don't know, but
yeah.
it really wasn't that big of a deal. It didn't take long to get them to make contact. So
Good.
But for those of you who are interested, Greg's product works fine.
And to be fair, that was Jean of Johnny's Workshop that designed the original adapter, and I just did a bunch of stretching and manipulation to make it a specific length so that it would match up with, what was it? Put that with a half straight, and then it's a polar. It's two polar. Yeah. Anyways, Mike will tell you. Worked with Mike for a bunch of time to try to figure out the exact right length for the adapter so that it would match up with the exact right length of, what was it again, Mike?
It was two. Now I got to look.
2 polycar straights, right?
I think it's 2 full straights.
2 full polycar straights.
Yeah.
While he's looking for that, I was going to show you that's the photograph. That's the car that I'm doing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool.
So apart from the fact that the original had black mirrors and I've painted the mirrors, it'll be almost identical.
I like yours better.
Yeah, I think so. It gives it a bit of a pop.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank
Where are
you.
you going to put the pink?
What, John?
I wonder where Dennis is going to put the pink.
Oh, no, this one doesn't get pink.
He's not doing the tennis livery. He's doing
Yeah. When I'm doing a scale livery, then it won't get pink. But you can be sure if I had been doing it in blue and silver and pink, the mirrors would have been pink for sure.
All right. All
You
done,
could do
Don?
the Iron Dames cars, Dennis. That would be all pink.
Yeah, there's a lot of good liveries out there. I'm pretty sure it won't take long for some of the Italian and the Spanish decal manufacturers to have decals out that will fit this car. And I mean, already, if you look on Pato's site in Australia, he's got hundreds of sets of decals for the Orica 07. It's been out for a couple of years now as a full-size race car.
Yeah, it's such a great car.
I'm looking forward to driving this one. I haven't driven it yet.
Are they
I
still
think
doing
it's the
four-wheel drive
fastest of
for-
my LMPs.
Uh-huh.
Are they still doing 4-wheel drive for LMPs, or was that just kind of like a
They did one on the Audi, but I don't know that they've done any more since then.
And it's faster in 2-wheel drive than 4.
that's kind of what I was figuring, is that they
Oh
stopped
yeah.
making them
And the other place that you could get a conversion kit to convert the Alfa Romeo, the 156 DTM car, to convert that to 4-wheel drive, which I did on one of mine. The very early ones, the early Alphas were not that good. You know, the later ones were better because the interiors were lighter and the bodies were lighter and they got better handling. But my original one with the 4-wheel drive system actually works pretty well. And it's not a lot slower than anything else.
I got one of
Dennis?
the 4-wheel drive ones and was surprised. Somebody said something? Was that Wayne?
Yeah, I was going to ask Dennis a question. Have you noticed that slotted chassis under that Orica 07 is quite a departure from previous slotted cars, and it's kind of the first of a new way that slotted are going to be making their cars? Like, I'm talking about places for grub screws to go and all sorts of things like that.
Yeah, there are places at the rear and way up the front. Now, whether that's for grub screws or whether that's so that they can attach a different nose for some other version of the car, I don't know. Because right now, on this car, the splitter is all part of the car, or all part of the body and not part of the chassis. So maybe those two holes that are right up the front there, ahead of the body screws, maybe those are to attach a splitter on some other version of the car that's going to have a different front clip. But you're right, at the back, right at the back, there's two behind the pod, right on the angle piece, right at the back here and here. There are two screws there as well, but there's no pad or anything below them. Although there are little locating pins, front and rear, right there, that looked like you could possibly locate something, either that or it's there to hold wiring for lights.
And have you worked out those, on the underside, there's those two small square holes either side of the motor pod. Have you worked out what they're for?
Well, presumably those are for oxygen
That's correct.
Hall effect sensors and things like that.
That's correct. Yes. Yes. There's a
Yeah.
few interesting developments in that car. And I think it marks the first of a new approach to their chassis.
Mhm. Yeah, the nice thing is that it now has all the necessary holes to put in either a C43 chip for Scalextric, for Carrera, or a SP15C for Scalextric digital,
Hmm.
and complete with that funny little clip that holds them in and things like that.
Yeah. It's it's definitely the first of a new breed.
There's a little bit more space up front for them to do it nowadays, because those are pretty big cars.
Yeah.
Does that have the conventional guide, Dennis, or have they kept going with the one in the Lola?
No, this is the conventional one, but it's the one that has the set screws that go in from the front.
Oh, right. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, there you could see it.
Yeah. Can see that.
Just the
Yeah.
two little set screws in from the front. So it's just a
Yeah,
it's a
I've seen
conventional guide now. Yeah, there is enough
Excellent.
space underneath that nose for it. So yeah.
All right, just want to make sure,
Cool.
Don, you're all done. Yep. Okay. All right, go ahead, Jim.
Before I get into this real quick, I think if you look at the forecast for Le Mans this weekend, they might be wanting four-wheel drive.
Mm.
And if those of you that in the US aren't aware, all of the practice sessions, the race is on Motor Trend TV, but all the practice sessions are on Max TV. And Max TV has a 1-week free trial. And so you can go on, sign up, and watch. I watched both practice sessions today, of which, interestingly enough, the Mustang led both of the last two practice sessions in GT3.
Yeah,
So-
that was a big surprise.
So anyway, I got a new car, and I decided to retire my Racer Sideways 4 GT. So I took the drivetrain was great. The body was kind of beat up, and the chassis had been through a lot. So I took the drivetrain and the wheels and tires out of it and put it into a Lexus. Decided to try something new. So I got the Lexus white kit, and I got the decals from a friend of mine. These are the MT32 decals. They're really good, having applied them now. But I didn't think I need to read instructions for decals. And my friend John Roberts, who gave these to me, I appreciate it, John. He told me beforehand, you need to seal these, and they recommend using Tamiya X22 clear out of the can and just brush it on. And these went on flawlessly, so they're really good. I like them a lot. I got the one you see here, the Mark Levinson, which is, if you've seen the car, it's a chrome blue, which is virtually impossible to duplicate. And it's a little bit too dark for for racing, I think. So I decided to go with red and use the Mark Levinson livery. This is 2 base coats of Tamiya bright red with a misting of metallic red, and it came out really good. I'm really happy with it. I was trying to kind of match my street car, but a little bit brighter. So it came out as good as I can have hoped for. Those of you that know me usually know that I usually do a white kit, put 3 numbers on it, maybe a sticker or 2, and I'm good for it. But this one I tried to do a little bit more. So I did all the interior and the dashboard, the steering wheel, the box, whatever that is. And Dennis will probably know this. This is the way it comes. I didn't do this. But I was really surprised that the white kit from Racer Sideways, this is the way it came. The interior was fully assembled and detailed.
Wow.
So I would have tried to get away with that, but I knew Dennis would call me on it. But, I mean, it's amazing, the detail. I can't, because the roll cage is installed, it's hard to get a picture of the screen behind the steering wheel.
Yeah.
But it's got the full steering wheel, the screen, and whatever that is, box over there, electronics box. So I was very surprised that it came
Tamper
fully
printed
assembled
before they put it
and
together.
ready to go. Yeah, I got in there with some of my markers and did the driver, so I didn't have a white helmet like Greg.
Yeah.
So I did the I did the gloves and everything, make it look a little bit better, but the interior was already pre-done. When I got it done, this is the front and the back, obviously. All of the Lexuses seem to have this surround around the grille in a bright contrasting color. So I just did that by hand in yellow. In the picture, it doesn't look super great but you know, from 2 feet away, it looks fine. So it came out really good. And then did the yellow on the diffuser in the back as well in that contrasting color. So to me, for my modeling skill, this came out awesome.
That's great.
And so there's the finished car, almost finished
Oh
car.
yeah, look at that.
The interior is a little bit low because the interior is not glued in yet. And I don't have the mirrors and the diaplanes on it. But other than that, it was pretty well done until my friend John, who is one of the best modelers around here in Sacramento, said those wheels look like crap. I couldn't disagree with him. We run 16mm wheels to race, and these come with 17, which look a lot better. So I decided it needed a little bit more contrast on the body. If you're familiar with this livery, it's got big black and gray surrounds all the way around here and up through it, and they didn't fit very well. I actually got them on and took them off. I didn't like them, but I did want to add a little bit of contrast to it. So with John in mind, here's the finished car.
It looks good.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
The bottom stripes are actually on backwards, but they fit fine. And so I am pleased as punch with this car. And for me, for my modeling skill, it came out awesome. I added a couple touches like the Lexus decal, the Lexus logo on the splitter on the chassis. So like I said,
change the wheel insert too.
The wheel inserts actually are not the ones, I couldn't find them right offhand. So these are out of an Area 71 kit, but they're off a GT3 car, so they're somewhat correct.
They look great.
But I put the Continental on the stock tires, and did the photographer thing where they have to be upright. They can't be upside down on the bottom of the tire. And you see the glass is not quite good because when I took this picture, the glass and the interior weren't totally installed. I just pressed them in, so that'll be fixed. But that's my project for the last 2 days, and it ran great I ran it on the track like this. So I had all the major components that weighed something in it, and it was right on the pace with my Ford GT.
Oh, that's cool.
Dimensionally, it's virtually the same as the Ford GT.
It's a good car.
The chassis, yeah.
That one and the Aston Martin that they have, both of them are really nice.
I think the Aston Martin's a little shorter in the guide lead, and Ian's been tearing up the Modesto track with the Aston Martin, but I wanted to run a Lexus because I own one.
Sure. Yeah, that looks great.
Jim, are you gonna or have you applied a clear coat over the whole thing?
I have not yet. No, I haven't yet.
Okay. When you do that, will you apply the clear coat over the glass portions too?
No, I've done that before, and it ruins the glass when I spray it. I'll probably brush it because I did clear coat the paint. When I did the paint, I clear coated the paint before I started doing any decals. So I'll probably just use that same Tamiya clear coat over the larger decals and just brush it on. Interestingly enough, that stripe that I put on the side, which runs the whole length of the car on the real car, I don't like this. And I tried to pull it off. So I took some masking tape, put it on the decal. It had been sitting for about maybe half an hour. I put masking tape on the decal, ripped it off, figured all the decal would come off. Not a piece. It embedded in that. So I had to literally scrape it off with my fingernail and a toothpick. And it did, because I clear coated the paint. It was like, if you look really close, you can see it, but you have to look really close to see where I scraped it off. So it was in there really hard. It took me 45 minutes to get that one decal off. So the decals, like I said, they're great. I clear coated them, applied them, a little microsol in some places where you needed it, and that's about it.
Whose decals did you say they are?
MTR 32. They have a lot of the new stuff. They have the BMW M4 GT3. They have the Corvette GT3, not the GTE. They actually have GT3 decals for the Corvette. So they've got a lot of fairly current decals for various cars.
Jim, did you say the body fit directly onto your old chassis, or did you have to modify it?
No, it's a separate chassis, but dimension-wise, they're the same.
Okay.
So I took the front wheel axle assembly, the guide, and the motor pod out of my Ford GT and swapped it over to the Lexus. So the running gear is the same as the Ford GT I've been running.
Like body post mounts, everything lined up for you to. mess
I
with
just
that.
checked, all I checked was the guide lead. The guide lead and the wheelbase is about the same. This is a Lexus chassis. It's not a 4GT chassis.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just saying dimensionally.
Oh, the parts. You just took the parts. Okay, I thought you took the
Yeah.
whole thing.
The major dimension that I'm worried about, the guide lead, was pretty much the same as the 4GT.
Gotcha.
Well, Mr. Thomas on YouTube says it looks great, and I can't disagree with that.
you.
Fantastic looking car. So thank you
Not,
very much.
it's not blue and yellow, but it looks good.
Hey, I recognize a nice looking livery, even if it's not the one that I would choose.
And I'm going to crash the crap out of it on Saturday because we have a race.
Even better. No shelf queens.
Yeah. And it does have the rubber wing. I didn't mention it, but Sideways makes rubber wings for most of their cars. So it's got the rubber wing on the back.
Nice. All righty. Thank you, Jim. And moving on to Chappie Man. Go ahead, sir. If he's here. Camera's off. Microphone's muted. All right. We might go ahead and move over to Lenny, and then we'll come back to Chappie Man.
Okay, you caught me out. I'm just bringing up the.
Lenny, I'm not sure what you're smoking there, but it's fogged up your whole room.
Oh, it's just a bad light, mate. It's a crappy light in a glass light thingo. Okay. Yeah, Carrera M20. It's been sitting in the bottom of one of my drawers for years. I don't even know why I bought it, to be honest. But I did at some stage. I must have got it cheap. But
I'll tell you why. Because they came out with it before Slotted did.
yeah. Well, that's the M20. It's not the M8.
I know. It's so similar.
Yeah.
It's like
It was
people-
pure curiosity that we bought those things.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
So
Oh,
turned it over and I found that.
Wow.
Right. So that's been sitting in the drawer for I don't know how long. The
the
tire
old
turned
Carrera
snot
dummy
and then
tire.
hardened up. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll
So
chew
I
out.
thought, so I thought,
Yeah, how about that?
Little buffer.
and I bought a job lot of these. They're advanced slot chassis. I've got 10 of them for $100 Australian. I don't know how long ago. I've forgotten when I bought them, but they were sitting in a box at the bottom of the drawer as well. And I thought, I thought I'd just do this for fun because we haven't really got a class for this layout for a classic sports car. So we have to run sidewinders or inlines for that. So took it, pulled it all apart, had a look underneath it. Oh yeah, give it a go. So I thought, well, measured it. Well, first I measured it all out, and I found I was about 6 mil too long in the wheelbase. So there's the original wheelbase there, and that's where I want to cut it to. So I thought I'll cut and shut the chassis, just for a bit of fun, just something to do. So I marked it up, and I cut 6 mil out of the center section here, got rid of the Avant slot thing, so no one knows what it is. I'm sure if Big Dan was here, he'd be appalled because he loves Avant slot. So I then cut it down. So there it is, ready to be put together. So cut it with a Dremel and then just filed it to fit. And there it is glued. Yeah, that's where I've glued it in, I think. Or no, I don't know. Don't know about that. It might be a doubled up shot. So there it is glued in there. So I put a bit of paper on. I've used my precision slot car jig to get the wheelbase right. So I slipped a bit of paper underneath so it wouldn't glue to the jig, and just let it set for a couple of hours. There it is, all the excess glue floating around on top. Then I took to the body and I cut out all the guts of it, thinking, no, that'll be right, that'll fit. And then I realised that it wasn't going to fit, so a little bit more surgery with the Dremel. And there it is. It's just sitting loose in there at the moment. It's got no body posts or anything. So it sort of fits. Gonna think it'll work. And there's the top bit showing the motor sitting in through the engine bay. I'll put all that back in eventually. I'm going to have to thin the engine deck before I put it all back together. It's a bit too thick. It's going to touch on the motor. And there it is, just sitting in line with the wheel arches at the moment. So
Pretty good.
just a bit of fun. That's where I am at the moment. I'll finish it off through the week. I've got it's just basically a junk box special.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not ready for that yet. That's Club Corner.
It'll go a whole lot better than the original, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, so it's just a bit of fun. Occasionally we run like open slot car races so the blokes can bring their Mosels out and flog everybody. So I might run that up against the Mosels for a bit of fun to see where it finishes up.
Yeah, looking good.
Anyway, so that's the end of me.
Nice.
So I'll get out the way for the moment.
Righty. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, just going through my junk boxes at the moment, just looking for
Heck
stuff
yeah.
to do on rainy days. It's actually raining here at long last. The winter's finally set in.
And summer's here. All right. Thank you, Lenny. And Chappie, looks like you're ready. Go ahead. Oh, you're not muted, but we can't hear you. You didn't have a mute button on the microphone, do you? No, still can't hear you.
John, did you sell Chappie Man your microphone?
Oh, he's got a new print. All right. This is my new print.
Here he is.
Hold
New
it
print.
isometrically so we can see the whole car. Oh.
Looks like one of those Pegasos or something like that.
Yeah. What is it, John? John is speechless. Oh my God.
I was gonna say Chaparral 2
Ah,
H, but it's not that.
yes.
It's not that.
Is that an early Bugatti?
No, not a Bugatti.
It's like
There was a Pegaso that looked like that. I seem to remember.
Is it a land speed record attempt car?
There you go.
I'm not quite sure. I thought it was something maybe the French would draw. It looks kind of fish-like.
CD.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it'd be like a
CD
French Le Mans entry,
something.
but I'm not quite sure which one.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Ligier.
Getting warmer.
No. It's
So-
older than that. It's from the. It's got to be from the.
It's a
60s.
Panhard.
Panhard.
Yeah.
Is it Panhard? Okay, well done.
Yes. What a game.
You should be muted more. Okay, what do we got here?
It looks like is that a Chevron?
No. It's a
It
Nissan.
looks like a McLaren, maybe. With the
The back
M6
looks
coupe.
rather
No.
square. It looks like it. Yeah.
Is a Rondo.
It's a Japanese prototype of some sort.
YouTube says Mercedes.
Oh, well done again. Oh, here we go. I like this.
Is it a
Name that
Nissan
car.
300 or something?
So if it's Japanese, does that mean it's Nissan,
Oh, hang
Toyota?
on. Yeah, hang on. Daihatsu.
Ooh.
See, if I saw the back, I was going to say
Is it a Daihatsu?
like the helmet turbine car, but it's not.
No.
No, it's a Japanese prototype
Oh, okay.
from the
It's a
60s.
big greenhouse.
Isuzu?
Oh, yeah.
Nodded for Nissan.
No.
No.
I thought it'd be like a Toyota, maybe.
It's got some serious mirrors going on, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. Hino?
Isuzu.
No,
No.
it wouldn't be Mazda. That's not.
Can he sign language, Chappie? Can you just wave your finger around and give us some letters to clue us in?
Write it down on a bit of paper.
Ah.
Oh, that's more
Oh, here's another one.
That's a Ford C100.
Yeah. Okay.
Well
there you go.
done.
Well done. Well done. I
That's
couldn't
nice
see.
work.
I couldn't see a lot of it there. Sorry.
Or maybe it's the earbuds that are meaning that your microphone's not working.
Oh, of course, the Renault.
Renault,
There we
yeah,
go.
It's a
Yes.
Renault.
Yeah.
With the decals, yeah, looks great.
Nice.
Pseudo coupe.
78 winner. Or 77 Le Mans winner.
Yep. Very nice.
That's it for now.
It's like he's been very busy.
And,
Wow, instead of name that tune, it's name that car. I love it.
Those were all filament printer prints, not resin printer prints,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh. He's got his printer dialed in.
Yeah, looking really nice.
All right, thank you, sir. And moving on, Mr. Weber, what you got?
Okay. Something new to me. I've been chasing one of these things for a long time, and it is a Carrera, but it's a fairly rare livery, I think. The
the Carling Black Label one.
right.
Yeah, that wasn't that David Hobbs who drove that?
David Hobbs, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, he's like one of my favorite personalities in the sport. Yeah.
I can do you a nice chassis conversion for that if you want, John.
Sure. Yeah.
I think somebody's got some extra rear tires for you.
These tires are hard as a brick, but they're not deformed like Lenny's were.
Well, there you
Now
go.
those the McLarens when we first when they come from the factory, I seem to remember had the slim can motors in them, right?
I haven't even taken it off the
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Because
Yeah,
the M20 and the 91730 were about released around the same time, but the 917 had a regular short can, and the M20s had the FF050, the long can, but the slimline one.
Yeah.
So there was quite a bit of difference in performance.
I like the staggered velocity stacks for the fuel injection.
Yeah, I know they
too.
did a nice job on the
cool
detail.
touch. Yeah. Eek.
Good looking car. Well, it's nice to have the thing that you were looking for, right, John?
Yeah, exactly.
All righty, good stuff.
That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
It was a Daihatsu.
Chappie's got.
Didn't someone say Daihatsu?
I can't
Where's
see him.
Paul?
He's nodding. Hold on. Lenny's got something.
Yeah, going back to Chappie, man. There you go.
There you go.
There it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That doesn't have the wing mirrors on stalks like the one that Chappie was showing.
Yeah, they're shorter.
Yeah. That's on a great Facebook page called Historic Japanese Racing Cars.
Oh.
If you want to have a look at what they did in the
he said
in the 60s
in
in
the
Japanese.
chat, Chappie Man put it in the chat that it was a Daihatsu
Oh yeah,
P5.
Daihatsu P5, PS.
Daihatsu
P5.
P5, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool beans. All right, did you have anything else, Lenny, or are your hands still up from earlier?
Oh no, sorry, I'm trying to get
That's
my
all
computer's
good.
playing funny buggers with me.
I can put hands down.
I'm chasing cursors around. So
all right.
Still trying to lower the damn thing.
I lowered it for you. Don't click it again. But Jeremy put his hand up, so go ahead, Jeremy.
Okay, so there's a professional company that makes one of these. I started work on laser cutting my own track, just to see how it would go and what I could do with it. So I wanted to make a joint to see what the joint would do, and then I put a recess in here for braid, and yeah, that's what I'm working on currently. Now this won't be for sale because it's just not very cost effective, but I wanted to see if I could make a 3 or 4 lane track of my own.
How does your join work?
What's that?
How does your join work? What's the design of your join?
Let me pull it apart.
And how long did it take to cut it out?
Well, these pieces were just some 14-inch test pieces. So the joint works like this.
Pegs and holes, yeah.
So this piece sits here, and then when you put this piece over it to lock it together. Now, to be fair, there's a professional company that does this already. I wouldn't say I stole their idea, but I was heavily influenced by their idea. And then you lock it in here, and then you just keep going down at that end. It has the 4 pegs and lock, and then a hole through. Now, on my track in the garage, my Scalextric track is built on a wooden table, so I may not need that bottom section. I might just take the top pieces and go straight to the wood right there. I haven't decided yet, but I just wanted to see if it was possible to do it without needing the bottom half of it there.
But then
How long?
you'd be
How
gluing
long
little
did it
squares
take?
to your table, right?
Sorry, go ahead. What's that?
You'd be gluing little squares to your table then.
Well, if I wanted to do it in squares, if I was going to do it to my table, I'd do it round with a flathead drill, or
Okay.
screw over
Screw
it,
it down, yeah.
and then put a piece of like wood, what is that, wood putty or whatever, before I sand it, and then get it smooth. I mean, there's options. I mean, I could always just also
Sure.
brad nail it down and it'd stay, but I was just trying to see how it would work, and then I know that the professional people who do this, they have a dimension that they can do is like, I want to say 3 feet, 4 feet. I don't know.
4x4.
Is it 4x4? So on mine, my laser, I can pick up and move. So I can take it, if I have a 12-foot sheet, I can just do the drawing and then mark where it's supposed to go. When it's done, move it to the next mark and let it keep going. So I could have as long a run as I needed. So
That's awesome.
yeah, I just wanted to see how it would work. Cutting out this 4-inch, or cutting out 2 pieces, 14 inches with all the holes and everything, that was about an hour's worth of work, but it is what it is. So I could do 2 lanes, 14 inches long would be 2 hours. Yeah, 2 hours. So yeah, 1 hour per lane, I guess.
But
But-
that's 1 hour of machine time per lane. It's not
Right,
1 hour
yeah,
of
I'm
your
just-
time per lane. and
Exactly.
that's a
I'm
big
sitting here
difference.
watching funny cat videos.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Sure, no problem.
the other thing though is that if I decide to take a 4 foot long by 2 foot long and just do it at once, there's less holes because it's just got to cut the 2 lines when it goes down, and then I
Mhm.
move it to the next. And then once it gets to the end where it all attaches together, that's when it's going to slow down again to get the holes and stuff. So I haven't decided if I'm doing it. I just wanted to see if it was even possible, and so it turns out it is possible.
Yeah, interesting.
That's where I'm at.
Fun.
Good times.
Did you have any other questions, Courtney, or was that somebody else's voice I heard?
No, that was me. As soon as he decides to do it, I'm moving to Iowa. I think there's a tiny home community that we could kind of surround his house and maybe enclose it with a track inside. Then there would be 31 tracks in central Iowa.
I'm in for that one.
Good stuff. Let's take a couple of YouTube questions. I did get some comments. One topic for discussion is, does anyone run a 10-24 gear ratio like the MR Slot Car Classics are proposing? Or what is your best all-around ratio for 132 cars? 10-24 is not a common ratio. Anybody know why they chose that? Is it the motor they chose that they decided 10-24?
10-24.
Well, being
That seems
Canadian,
really
maybe the gears were on sale.
Is he putting what kind of motor is he putting in that? Is it just got a lot of torque?
No,
Probably a slim can.
it's a slim can around 18K.
Well,
Yeah,
and he's
usually
got
the slim cans are done with a very numerically high gear ratio.
Well, that's with the high RPM slim cans. The thing that he's got tall tires on that. So
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
Yeah,
make it-
obviously those mini or the Revo Slot Group 2s, I think they come with like a 26. And I noticed when I went to a 10 on the motor, the car ran better on my track. So maybe not a 10-24, but I think the Opel comes with a 10-26 and I ran that. That's what I ran.
That car's limited too by the fact, and Dennis may remember, I don't write offhand what gears are available in the offset slotted crown gears.
Oh, there are a bunch, so it probably is not that much of a
Yeah,
limitation. I think they come all the way from 23 to 20 to 28 or 30
think-
even.
30.
I think you're right. I think
Looks like
23
30.
is,
And yeah, I think 23 is the smallest.
So 10-26 is almost 2-1, right? Or 1-2. 1 to 2.
No,
1024 is 2.4 to 1.
10-24. Yeah.
yeah, 2.4 to 1.
I've seen some of their testing.
this is slot car talk, not math talk.
I know. I'm trying not to do any math in my head.
And those tires, like somebody said, those tires are
This
big
is
because that,
helping. But the
that car has a
question is
3mm
opinion.
there's 3mm clearance underneath the bottom of the car. So those are big tires.
Yikes.
Yeah, so that's why I'm confused. you're giving, okay, with that gear ratio, you're giving more RPMs to the wheels than you would with like a 927 or any other 3-to-1 gear ratio, right? Because you're doing a lower ratio, right? So more RPMs from the motor translates to the tire, translates to the axle than on a 927. And
The only thing I could say about
so you're making them faster, not.
Well, if you have 10,
Well,
what does he have on it? 1024?
You said 1020.
If you got 1024 with a taller tire, it's more like probably effective ratio of 3-to-1 on the cars that we're running now.
what motor's in the car?
it'd be an 18K FF050.
So it's going
So-
to be a really weak motor. I assume it won't have a ton of
That's a-
torque, so it'll just
Yeah, but-
drive kind of easy, like
Guys,
a 1950s car.
I think
Yeah, that's
that
a very tall ratio. Very, very tall ratio. I have no experience with the FF050, but if that was on an FC130 motor, 23,000 RPM, that ratio would be probably
But it's
optimal for a huge circuit like the Le Mans circuit.
Well, and I think that this is
but
what's
it's
going
not.
on here. If you look at the track that Ernie has, that MR Slot Car have in Ernie's raceway in Toronto, and if you look at the track at Electric Dreams, you are probably going to need that kind of ratio to get some kind of speed out of it. So if he's thinking about running that car on those kind of tracks, then that's why the gear ratio is what it is.
Okay, because you got.
And I don't know if it
more
makes a
top- you
difference,
get
but it's an
more top
FK180.
end, but poor, you get more top end, but poorer acceleration and braking. So you're basically.
Yeah, which on a small light car is probably not a bad idea.
You said it's an FK 180?
Yes.
So don't those usually have a little more torque than the FF?
Well, they'll pull taller ratios better. So they will pull that ratio better than an FC130.
But I mean, we will run 12, 20, 1228 or 1229 on some of the angle winders at Electric Dreams with 23K motors. So yeah, I think 1024 sounds to me to be a little short for that kind of car, and I'm surprised that if that is what the gear ratio is. But I haven't checked, so I don't know personally that that's the. Jim, you haven't had that car in your hands, have you?
No.
I'm assuming that.
I thought FF050s were rev machines.
They are usually, but not. It depends on the wind. I mean, there's been lots of FF050s that are only 18 or 18,500. You can get them in the. There were the little minnows that Slot Car Corner used to sell that were 14,000 RPM.
Yeah, Penrose used to do a 14,000.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the real answer is we're going to have to figure out when we actually drive one why they chose that gear ratio, because it depends on the motor too, right? If you get a motor that's torquey, then that would help, but if you get a motor that's not torquey, then that would.
Yeah, but again, given those size of those tires, it's probably effectively more like a 924 based on what we race normally.
Yeah, but
No,
that
it's
you're not
probably
changing
more
the
like an
RPM with a bigger
1124.
tire. You're changing the torque with a bigger tire. RPMs are the same, right?
Oh yeah, I'm thinking backwards. I'm wrong. Yep.
It's a very tall ratio, particularly if the tire's big.
Yeah.
I don't know what I don't know what the motor's like. That's all the track.
Yeah, so it'll depend on the motor.
Yeah, that's a 2.67 ratio.
I don't remember, did Ernie actually say that the production car would come to that ratio, or that was what was on the prototype?
Don't call
It's
either
possible
way.
that may not be the ratio that comes with the car.
Somebody might have to go back to the Zoom call that he was on and tell us.
Yeah, go back a week or two.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on to another topic which might not take as long, which is for those who build tracks or modified tracks or whatever the case may be, what is the preferred method to make the narrow slot that you run the braid down through when you have, when they come to the end of a section of your track? How do you make that narrow slot?
You laser cut us a hole right there by 2
That's what
millimeter by
Jeremy
2
would
millimeter.
do.
Okay, see, quick and easy. Takes like 2 seconds.
Send it to Jeremy.
Personally, I use a particle beam.
Particle beam. I mean, all I can think of is, either a small drill bit on both ends and then, file it out or saw it out with a coping saw.
There
Or
are a couple of ways to do it.
a narrower router bit.
Um,
You don't want a big old 3 millimeter slot for the braid to go down in, do you?
well, don't forget you've got two braids that are going to go down in there, and the braid's 1/4 inch wide. So, you've got to be able to pull it down into. I mean, the commercial tracks where they don't, the commercial tracks are done two ways. They either drill a hole, and it's basically a 6 millimeter or a 1/4 inch hole, and they feed both pieces of braid down inside the hole.
Yeah.
Right. Some people will actually get in with a small rat tail file and square up the hole. Right. Or you could, and I did this on my rally track. I made a little steel jig that had a 1/4 inch long by 2 millimeter slot in it, and I would put that down on the track, and then I used a Dremel with a 2 millimeter drill in the end of it, just basically in that thing, just to make this nice little 2 millimeter wide by 1/4 inch long with rounded edges on it. And then the braid went down there. That worked nice. Or else, if you're going to join the braid where the sections of the track join each other, you can always just relieve the side of the track ever so slightly, right?
Little rebate.
And then just bend it straight over and take it down. And then when you bolt it up, then you clamp it below that.
Yeah.
That the world's track that we moved into Piranha Raceway that was built by Janis Nabokins from Lithuania or Latvia, that's done that way. The problem there is if you want to replace a section of braid from beginning to end, you have to split the track again to get it out because you can't get it out any other way.
Yeah. So it depends on how you're putting your track together.
Mhm.
But if you're terminating the braid at the section, then you might as well just run it around the end of the section with a little bit of relief.
With a little bit of relief, so that when you clamp it together, the surface is spot on.
Yeah, but if
you're careful there, and you can leave the braid standing a little bit proud, and then as you clamp it up, it'll the two pieces of braid will connect against each other, and you almost don't need any other connection, and it's quite reliable. But that's probably the neatest way of doing it.
But if you're building the entire track and then braiding it, then just putting a hole right down through the slot. It's basically the size of the slot, and then maybe squaring it.
But as I say, what I would probably do would be to make up a little drilling jig or a little guide, so that you don't over drill it, and then go in with a smaller drill and make a little oblong slot that's at 90 degrees to the main slot that the guides run in. Make an oblong slot so that you can feed that down, so that you get a very close finish of the braid. Because if you've got a 1/4 inch hole there, you get that a little bit at the top, right? And as it goes down the hole, the fact that you're going down a rounded hole like that, it tends to lift the edges up a little, and you have to roll that quite tight. So making a groove there, or a rectangular slot is better.
Squaring out the hole, yeah.
Squaring up the hole, yeah. Steve.
Hey, Steve's here. All right, I think that probably answered the question. So I don't see any other show and tell hands popping up. So let's do some club corner. If you got some past, present, or future racing you want to talk about, raise your virtual hand so you can talk about that. Last week I missed the race. I think I probably talked about that last week. this week we had our first race of the NSR Classic, Classic Le Mans cars. I was running my 9083 because it's the blue and yellow car of the group. Performed nicely. Got third place out of the 9 people that were there. So technically that was second place because first place was the guy who was always first place. So I don't really count him as first place. So it was me and the other guy below him, first and second place of the remaining people. But yeah, good time. That's short and quick from me. What you got, Wayne?
Well, you know that feeling when you that experience, I should say, when you build a new slot car and you turn up at a track with it and it just runs great and nothing that you change on it makes it, ruins it or anything like that. It just works. Well, I'm crossing my fingers for a whole spoonful of that because I'm off to Belgium on Sunday to take the opportunity to take the last testing session before the Paul Ricard 24-hour Disca race, which is the following weekend. I could show you the car, but then I would have to shoot you, obviously.
Well, Gio showed us the body that he was working on, so we've seen that.
Did he?
We don't know.
Yeah, I missed the beginning of the chat.
He showed us his testing chassis, but we haven't seen the racing chassis.
Well, unfortunately, my body shell isn't completed and not likely to be completed in time for the event. So it is a team effort. In fact, the choice of chassis and the way it's been put together has been decided on by a small group of individuals from the chat, including some design, a little bit of 3D printing, etc. And I will disclose more about the car in the future. But that's what I'm doing. It's an upcoming test session and followed a week later by the big one. And so, yeah, that's me. And I'm hoping to be there by Sunday lunchtime and flying back Monday morning and then heading off again back to the same place by Thursday morning, this time in the car for the weekend, for the full weekend, for the 24-hour race. So that's me. Any questions?
Yeah, good luck.
It's such a completely different place than the States, where people will just fly. Just go ahead and fly for a quickie 1-day thing.
That's the one.
That's the one. But in Europe, it's regular people in Europe. The plane or the train. Wherever you want to go in Europe, just hop on a plane or a train, and you're fine. Yeah.
For me, it's. I mean, the last time I went abroad to race a slot car was January, and this is the next and only time I expect to do it this year. It's a massive commitment, really. I mean, we've actually been building or planning and building and designing and doing things for this car since the last Suzuka race in January. I'm just crossing fingers, toes, and everything else that could possibly cross that what we've created is a successful chassis, because it's not the only one that we may end up racing. If it's a bit of a lemon, then there is another chassis that's amongst other drivers of the team, other members in the team, that we're going to compare it to. And we decided that it needed to be done at least a week before the event so that we could finalize any preparations that needed, any further preparations that were needed between deciding on the car that we're going to run and getting the body shells, the lighting kits, the controller pairings, and all of those things, all the spare parts, all together so that when we turn up at the race, we're actually prepared. And so that's what this weekend is about. And I know that Gio will land in Holland on Thursday, and he's going to make the journey from Holland over to Belgium to join me at that test. And we've got 2 other teammates who have been to the venue and have been testing a couple of cars I know about at the venue. And I'm hoping to what I've built obviously you don't do this so that you don't race it. I'm hoping that what I've built is a better car than anything else that we've got amongst the team, and it gets chosen to do the race. But yeah, so that's the risk I'm taking. There's no past with this car. It's just a bunch of theory and experience that's all come together. Yeah, we'll see what happens. And there will be news next Wednesday, hopefully, because by that time I'll know how it went. And by next Wednesday, it'll be I'm off in the morning, won't it? So yeah, that's the big one coming up.
All right, looking forward to the testing results then.
Thank you.
And then, so will this be the first time you've run on Paul Ricard with the full straight without a chicane?
That's correct. It is. It will be. It'll be the first time I've run on Paul Ricard. Full stop.
You've never been on Paul Ricard?
No, never. Nor has Gio. Nor has Yuna, who is also one of the drivers.
Why do I feel okay?
The only individual that I know that has been there is Henry Everstein.
Okay, that's what I'm mixing up.
Yeah.
Tamar hasn't ridden on it either?
Tamar is one of the teammates who has been, and he's been a few times in recent months, and he's taken several different versions of chassis that have been that are not production, and he's also taken some production equipment and back to back several alternatives, and at the moment he's got the best of the group, and that's what I'm trying to match or better.
And you've got a 15
so we'll see.
mate too, right?
I'm sorry?
You got a 15 mate too, right?
Yes, his name's Ezra. He's from the Suzuka Eindhoven Circuit Club. He's one of the younger guys. I mean, Yona's young. Ezra's a couple of years older, maybe early 20s, something like that. He's a bit of a lightning rod. He can pedal. Or at least he certainly can pedal around Suzuka for certain. I've seen it, and I've given him a car that I'm doing a 12.2 second lap with, and he'll crack out an 11.8. You know, that happened to us this January. However, we have heard that the nature of the circuit at Paul Ricard is quite different to Suzuka in some significant ways, in particular in the way that it flows. Far less of a point and shoot circuit is the wording I think I heard. And yeah, that might actually suit me.
You've got at least one point and shoot per lap.
Well, that's right. And one big braking zone because the speed will be high.
Yeah.
But yeah, that chicane or that pair of chicanes in the middle of the straight there. What's it called? Oh, anyway, it's got a name. The straight, well known for being quite long.
Yeah.
I think the whole circuit is only about 4 or 5 meters shorter than Le Mans, although it takes up far less space.
Is that the real straight?
The running length, yeah.
Mistral straight. The Mistral. Yeah. What is the Mistral? Is the Mistral a wind? Is it like a Zephyr? Is it like a Zephyr? Yeah, I thought the Mistral was a wind.
Anyway, on the Mediterranean.
Annual wind weather event.
Yeah. I don't know any other corner names for the circuit, but I'm sure I'll learn a few whilst I'm there. We're going to have to reference parts of the track to one another. I'm going to have to come up with a language that makes sense. It might even be turn 4 or turn 6, but whatever works. We're going to have to make it up. But we're in the 24-hour. We're going to go and try and do our best. We don't expect to be amongst the front runners because we're not locals, and it is the first time at a new venue. So you can't expect to go and show the locals how it should be done or anything. But we'll go and we'll do our best, and we'll have a massive fun time and a great story at the end, I'm sure.
All righty. Looking forward to the reports.
Luck, Wayne.
Moving on.
Thank you.
What you got, Mike?
Well, we had just the two of us this week. Shiggy is still under the weather with his concussion thing. And in fact, bad enough that Ratby beat him at the 124th races pretty badly, which is unusual. Shiggy generally is pretty good at the 124th race. But anyway, so Ratby and I had 3 races, and we did a Porsche 908 NSR against the Ferrari 512M, which is the 70s Le Mans cars. I think it's 72. And I had played around with the 908 a little bit before we started and put the weight back to my preferred 59-41, 59 rear, 41 front proportions. And it worked a treat. And I was like 0.5 a second faster than Mike was, and in it. So I gave myself a massive fuel load, and the race worked out well because it was back and forth, and I ended up beating him by, I think, about a lap, a little bit less. He had an off at the end, I think, is the problem. So that was close. And then for the second race, we did Revo slot GT1s. So I had Mercedes CLK, and he had a Toyota GT1, and I was actually slower than he was for most of it. I cranked off a good qualifying lap, but I managed in the race to be pretty good, and my strategy was the best way in this case, because I made sure that I stayed on, and I for the most part, except when I got ghosted. We had the ghost cars, of course. Sometimes they just like will not move no matter what. So other than that, I had a pretty good race. So I bested him at that one. And then we raced for the third race. We both have Cobra Daytona coupes, and they're both set up the same way. And they were pretty even. And I managed to eke out a third win. So I had a good day. 3 wins in a row is pretty good. Even if there's only 2 guys, it's still a win. And he didn't make it easy on me. That's for sure. I mean, we're pretty even on the way we drive. So I just have more laps on the track, and sometimes that makes a difference. Although, since most of the time that I'm running the track, I'm looking for fast laps, I tend to push it a little more, and you get that mindset going, and you really gotta pedal it back when you're doing the race, because it's once you're off, it's bad news. So anyway, we had a great time. Spent a lot of time, and during the race, I don't know if you guys remember, but I've been having this ongoing problem with the program cutting out and the cars losing control. And in the middle of the Cobra race, I thought, oh yeah, I should try switching the controllers out. So I switched back to the original Scalextric plug-in controllers. And interestingly enough, the cars were seemingly faster on the straight and easier to control. Whatever the reason, it was very surprising to me. We've been using True Speed controllers prior to this, which are decent controllers. I didn't expect that there would be any difference in speed or anything, but at least my car was much easier to control with the original Scalextric than with the True Speed. The only big difference was the amount of tension on the controller spring. So that may, contribute to it. I don't know. I have to do more testing on this, and I'm hoping next week I'll do a full race series on the controllers to see if that makes a difference in the loss of car control through the race management system. So we'll see.
Did you ever do the spring replacement on the Scalextric controllers?
No, I did not.
There's a long time ago, before the True Speeds came out, there was some controller mod threads on Slot Forum, and there is a spring that fits real nice that has lower tension but enough to return to 0 reliably. So yeah. That was one of the earlier mods.
Just today, I tried retensioning the spring, and that didn't work.
Yeah.
I pulled too much tension off. It's too easy to get it too far off, and then it doesn't return.
Yeah.
So I'll probably have to look that thread up and get another spring.
It might be in the Scalextric Digital useful threads and links pinned post. So definitely check for that. I'm curious about your NSR 908 ballast situation because I didn't put any ballast in mine, but I have not done a fore and aft weight comparison. Where and how much did you put ballast in that to get your?
Good question. I
mean, a chunk.
I know where there's a little bit of weight in the front, and then I had two small squares that were, I think, 1.8 grams, or 1.8 grams. Just even with the front edge, the back edge of the motor, edge being the front edge of the motor, away from the gears. If you want to, I'll go pull it out and show you where it is because it's sitting right here.
I mean, you don't have to, but I'm curious.
I can do that.
I haven't noticed any problems, but I'm always up for a tenth or two if some ballast.
Have you tried weighing it?
I mean, all I care about, generally speaking, is the car handles. It seems to handle okay, and I'm under or over the minimums or maximums for our racing spec. I tend to only add ballast when I don't think the car is performing appropriately. But you said you did some stuff and it was more stable or whatever.
Well,
no, faster, 0.5 faster.
Well, yeah, but because just adding weight is going to make it slower. So obviously it made it handle better, which allowed him to get around the course faster.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll pull it out and look if you want to go to somebody else.
Okay, we'll come back to you on that one. Lenny, go ahead.
Just a quick club corner thingy. It's a non-championship race. But hang on, I haven't the share yet. There we go. Yeah, so we ran a quick race for our river slot under 2 litre cars or Group 2 cars. This is our first official race. We ran a 2-minute one just as a test race a couple of months back, but this was our first one. So there's the podium there, and there's the rest of the grid there. Not necessarily in finishing order, but young Andrew topped the scores again with his Opel Kadett, and I finished second with mine. Jeff came home with his Alpha, and then there's the rest of them there. I'm not sure whose is who, but we got a good mix of cars, a couple more Alphas, another 3 Alphas, 2 Escorts, a BMW, and a Datsun. And old Bert, our elder statesman in the group, he hasn't got one of these, but we let him run his under 55mm wide classic touring car. So he was happy with that. He was having a bit of fun.
What's your basic rule for that class?
Oh, basically stock.
Stock. Okay.
Bit of tuning. Our tyres are free, but just glue and true, basically.
Okay.
And most of us are running the 30 shores. I know Andrew is, and I am. I'm not sure what Jeff's running, but a couple of the others have tried the 25s, the G25s, and mixed results, I think. But yeah, I'm happy with that's my thumb, by the way, up here. Yeah, so it was a good night, a good race. Everybody enjoyed it. A lot of enthusiasm. Good mixture of cars. Andrew set the fastest time, I think, with a 2.3. Can't tell. I've obscured it with my thumb. I just kept the thing in the slot and just kept circulating. There's a few others that are a bit quicker than me time-wise, but I just kept it in the slot, and Jeff did a pretty good job. He probably would have beaten me, I think, but he has a few issues on red lane, so that's his hoodoo lane on my track. So he usually loses a bit of time there. But Steve finished 4th with his BMW. He's got a 2002 BM. Jason's got a Escort. Callum's got he's got an Escort. Ian's got an Escort, very noisy. He's still trying to run his gear, and it's the thing sounded like a bag of bolts going around. Norm sort of flitted between two cars. He had an Escort and the 510 Datsun. But he seems to have more cars than I've had hot dinners. So Norm changes cars like he changes his underwear. So, yeah. But overall, it was a good race. Everybody enjoyed it. And we'll put them into the championship series or the point scoring series at some stage and see how they go in that. Okay, that's it for me on that one.
All righty, good stuff. All right, Mike, you ready?
Yep, I am. Here's a picture of what's in there. Now, I was way off on how much weight there was. Each of those are 4.5 grams.
I was going to say those are few.
Yeah.
I don't see anything up front.
Yeah, there is. If you look, there's a tungsten rod up front, right behind the
Oh,
guy.
okay, okay,
Two
yep.
pieces in a V shape,
I see it now. yeah.
and that's 3 grams. So
Total
that's
3 grams.
13 grams. The total weight of the car is 80.34 grams.
Now, what chassis is that? Because
That is the blue soft chassis from NSR.
okay. Wonder if that
Now,
makes it.
On my track, the soft chassis seems to work better.
Yeah.
If you're running on a wood track, I would suspect not.
I mean,
but
we run
whatever-
basically half and half. We're doing plastic wood, plastic wood, plastic wood. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I mean, the spec is stock chassis, stock pot, so I don't really have a choice there. But yeah, I might have to put a couple grams on each side of the chassis and see what happens.
Yeah. Well, I would truly measure it. I think you're, if you can get it to that spec. I know the reason I put the originally in the front was to get a little bit more traction with it, but it didn't quite get the handling there until I changed it back. It was 56% when I tested it just before I changed it. So it's 56 rear, 44 front.
Yeah.
So, and I put it back to 59.41, and that was like magic. It was like, holy crap. It like I said, a half a second a lap. And on my track, that's a lot.
Now, did you experiment with, so you initially had the tungsten rods up front, right?
Correct.
Did you experiment with pulling those out to gain the
I have
percentage?
not yet. This is one of these things that was the last digit, the last second thing. And I went, okay, I wonder if I can get a little more traction. I had a few minutes before Mike got here, and I thought I'll see if I can get a little more like that. And I moved them. I had the same amount of weight in it prior to this, but the pieces were farther forward, so that kept the bias to 56% of the rear.
Yeah.
So I put just that little bit back further, maybe 3 millimeters back, and that changed the weight distribution to 59.41, and it really ran well. I mean, and the 512 Ferrari, the slotted one, is no slouch. It's a good car.
Yeah.
So, but lots of people have had good luck with this. I actually have not had great luck with the 908s. They're decent cars, but they're not my fastest of the Le Mans cars, generally speaking. But this put them right up there, near the podium of the Le Mans cars I have, and I think I have 12 or 13 of them. So it's a good car.
I mean, mine
And
is.
I have 3 of these.
Mine's the fastest because it's the only one with the 21K motor instead of the
Oh, okay.
whatever the orange one. It's got the purple one instead of the orange one. So
Yeah.
it was either run the 908 or move that motor to a different car, and I'm like, I'll just run the 908. But yeah, I'll do some weigh in and see what the ratio is before I go slapping some weight in there, and maybe it's already.
I'd be interested to find out, see what it does on your track.
Yeah.
Oh, before I forget, Wayne,
Hello.
I did the WD-40 trick.
Oh, okay.
It did not work. It was awful. It was just, it took me half an hour to scrub the shit off.
Oh my goodness.
It was just, it was
Okay.
miserable.
That's pretty much what I thought. I'm just trying to figure out what people are doing that makes it work. I mean,
Well, it works on the tires because it changes the, you know, the surface
sure,
area. But it doesn't make any sense to put it on the track, and I will never do it again. Because, you know, I went from having not quite enough traction to having no traction, doing full-on drifting around that corner. It was, and that's even on the painted stuff. So it was just miserable. So
next Wayne will tell you to soak your vintage guitar in the bathtub for a day. That's an extra.
It improves the tone. All right. Well,
I'm just telling you what the guy with the outdoor track experienced, and I've seen it happen. It may have been that the thing was completely dusty and just wetting it down or something made it much better. I've seen it work. It was on stock electric cars with stock electric tires on. They were trued, but in an outdoor setting,
there was enough on it that it got into the tires and eventually got some traction. But
I'm not exactly sure how it worked.
Or since it was outdoors, the WD-40, the stuff that evaporates more quickly out of WD-40, I forget the word for it.
Solvents.
Yeah, the solvents and stuff evaporated out more quickly, leaving behind the gunky stuff that WD-40 turns into after it's dried out.
Yeah.
Basically putting glue on his track, basically.
I'm sorry, I still think it's the transatlantic equivalent or virtual equivalent of pull my finger.
Yeah.
Wasn't intended to be, but there you go.
We use that a lot on HO tracks, but once you wipe an HO track down with a WD-40, you got to run it in for 40 or 50 laps. And once you run it in, it's great.
Yeah.
You can't just put WD-40 on it and expect it to be bang right out of the box good.
Well, I mean, it was awful. It was almost uncontrollable, Joe.
Well, it is. When you put it on, it's uncontrollable. When the track runs in, and it depends on the track, it may take a while. It may just not work on your track at all. But that's the experience we have with HO. You've got to run the track in after you wipe it down with WD-40.
Okay, so you had it work.
Yeah, HO cars with silicone tires works great, but you can't expect it to work for the first 50 laps.
Yeah, I don't.
So, Mike, you've got to go away and do it again. You've got to go away and do it again and just give it more time, my friend.
Yeah, all right. Take two. We'll see what happens.
And put silicone tires on all your cars.
Oh no!
No, don't do that.
John, I'm pulling his finger again.
So you are serious on this, Jim?
No, I'm serious on it. Yeah, absolutely.
For HO for silicone.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give it a shot. I'll give it at least 100 laps.
Most HO track that I'm familiar with is likely to be ABS or ASA, not polypropylene that Sport Track is.
It is a different, it's a different kind of plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if it brings up a some kind of microscopic mountains on it or something like that causes it to work. But anyway, I'll try it again. I'll try it again. And I will.
If you're bored,
don't wet it. I wouldn't go wet with it. It was just enough to it cleaned up and it went black and it went blacker and it went lustrous looking, a little bit shiny, but it got repeated use because it was in a commercial setting. It was being used repeatedly and it was done at lunchtime on that given day. And from that point for the rest of the afternoon, that's when all the leaderboard got filled up because I'd had a go with it in the morning and I'd got my name on the leaderboard, not at the top, because there's no point in doing that when you're, at the side of a motor racing circuit, like a full-size motor racing circuit where it was actually happening. I went back in the afternoon and I was at the bottom of the board and I thought, that's just not good enough. So I had another go and I asked what he'd done and he said, I've given the track a wipe down with WD-40 around the lunchtime. And since that moment, everything's gone quicker, and that's the only example of it I've seen. Although I do know that he's done it with the track many times. because I discussed it with him. He says, I do it all the time with the WD-40. I said, what about the rails? Do you not get conductivity problems? No, not really.
Yeah, no. WD-40 can help in the same way that Inox helps, but when it dries out, it causes problems.
You wouldn't want it building up in your braid, would you?
Wouldn't want it building up, exactly. No. But these were non-magnet cars, not magnet cars? Or were they
You know what? It would have been at least 2 summers ago when, mind you, was it even pre-COVID when I saw it happen? It wasn't recent. So yeah, it was a few years ago. Can't remember, to be quite honest. Think they might have been Porsche Boxsters or BTCC cars.
But it was for the
public electric cars.
But probably magnets.
Probably.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. We've only got 20 minutes left. Dennis, what you got?
We had a race at Electric Dreams this weekend. Part of our regular every second Saturday of the month racing, so regular club race rather than one of the big races. I've got a couple of things. We had, for example, where are we now? Now I'm missing the screen. Hold on a moment. Let me stop this share. Stop the share. I thought that I had it ready to go. Yeah, there it is. So let me try again. We had 29 entries for a regular weekend race. And so here are the qualifying results. Todd Ullery, again, the top of the thing, but a couple of guys close to him. Yours truly didn't have such a good run. I was the only guy running a slotted car. I ran a McLaren MAD. Everybody else was running either NSR or a Thunder slot. And most of the NSRs were 908s. There were a couple, 1 or 2 917 10s. Thunder slots were a mix between the McLaren Elva and the M6. I think there were 1 or 2 Lola T70s. But anyway, 29 guys separated from 5.9 seconds to 7.2 seconds. So that was that. The race results, Todd won it. It was a little closer than before. There was a very close finish for second and third. Mark Natividad, who qualified in the B qualifier, actually came in third overall.
That looks like an outstanding result.
Yeah, it was a really good result. He had a very, very good race, very solid and consistent all the way through. I managed to get up to 12th, and I was beaten by Tim Fleener. We ended on the same number of. He was in the A final. I was in the C, and we ended on exactly the same number of laps and sections. And in fact, Marco had to go back into the video and actually do an overlay of the two cars to show how close we were. I mean, that's how close it was. I missed out by what, 6 inches, 9 inches, maybe.
You're on the outside lane there. I think you went further.
Actually, yellow is what on the insides. That's on the return section, so it's on the inside. Couple more photographs. This was the group of guys that were there, including some visitors on the left that we just pulled in. Everybody looking good and happy. Just some random photographs. Oh, this was this is a non-slot.
Abarth.
Abarth, that one of the guys was running. Regular 908. We had the normal streaming going with the extra commentary. This is Mark interviewing one of the early heat winners, other various shots of the people and the cars. Everybody having a good time.
What was Ozzy Osbourne driving?
Say again?
What was Ozzy Osbourne driving before him in the results?
Yeah,
Darren.
I think he had a McLaren.
I think Mark did a 908 for him.
I don't recall. I really don't. This is
Good to
Todd.
see him out and about anyway.
Yeah.
He's from
Yeah,
Barbados.
he had been up at the Modesto race the weekend before, and then he came down and raced. For those who don't know who he is, he's a racer from Barbados.
Oh, I thought it was the lead singer of what was it?
No, not that Ozzy Osbourne, I'm afraid.
Oh,
No.
not that Ozzy Osbourne.
Not that
Right.
Ozzy Osbourne. This was a different Ozzy Osbourne. The Mike McClanahan. So Todd was running an NSR, Mike was running a Thunder Slot, and Mark Natividad was running an NSR, one of the early 908s.
Well, the little business cards they're holding up.
No, those are their plaques for first, second, and third place.
Oh, they're trophies. Yeah, okay,
Yeah, we don't issue trophies, but we have these little self-adhesive box plaques that you can stick onto your box. That's me in the background there under Mike's car looking for some more speed. I didn't find any.
Under the
Anyway.
table where the weeping takes place.
Is that
Yeah.
is that one of those special NSR bodies that was produced?
No, that's one of Todd's own spray jobs. He buys a lot of white bodies and paints them himself. So that's just one of his. He does a lot of that, and his preparation is really, really good. There was one more of his here. I think that Dark Side, this one. I think that was also one of Todd's ones. Dark Side is his brand or his team name. Yeah, so that was that.
Is that nano slot a clear plastic body or?
No, it's a hard body. It's a Abarth S2000. So it was a small sports car that was run in Europe.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
very
familiar
light.
with the Abarth. I thought that nano slot had clear plastic bodies.
Yeah, they do. Some of their cars are clear plastic, but this one is a hard plastic body. It's a very nice little car, actually.
Yeah.
You see them typically in orange, do you not?
They had a couple of regular plain colors. There were orange and red ones. They had a white version as well that I painted up in blue and pink. Yeah,
Really neat little car, wasn't it? It was quite good in stock form.
Yeah, it was a good look. The slot car, you mean, or the?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's very nice. It actually works very well.
It's very light.
Yeah, quite similar to the other, it's maybe not quite as good as a Thunder Slot, but it's close.
Never seen one. Only read about them.
The guy at Nanoslot made them or had them made, had a run of them made, and then never did anything else. I don't know quite why he didn't continue with it, but he's done much more in the clear body stuff for some reason. Anyway, so that was that. And then only one other thing from us, and that is Sunday being Father's Day is the third annual Electric Dreams slot car swap meet. So anybody who's down this way who has some spare money, please bring it, because I've got a lot of stuff to sell, as do a lot of other people. Marco was saying that he quite possibly. Dewan said he has $400 to come. Okay, I see the 4. Marco was saying that he's got a bunch of secondhand cars from collections that he's bought out that will be available for sale. So there's hundreds of cars going to be available.
Nice.
So that's me.
If I was down there, I would definitely say my Father's Day present is going to Electric Dreams.
It's a fun day. It really is. The tracks are open and people have a great time. Their fathers bring their sons and they play and they buy and they talk. And we have a couple of food trucks, or at least one food truck anyway, that one with a nice Brazilian street food. They'll be there, and it's very often there's a bit of entertainment and so on. So it's a fun day.
Yeah.
And hopefully the weather will be great. You're right.
Alrighty, hopefully that gets good attendance. And for the last 10 minutes, we've got Jim. What you got?
Well, for the first time in a long time, we did not have a race last week. We've had multiple weekends where we've had 2 races, so we had to figure out something to do. So we decided to form some new classes. But before I get into that, Dennis talked a lot about Electric Dreams. If any of you, Greg, Gal, Courtney, are thinking about going to the Slotted Nationals, I just entered last night and I am entry number 60. So if you're thinking about it, anybody out there, do it.
I forgot about that. Yeah, it's filling up fast, guys. You better get if you want to go, you better get in.
I am number 60 out of 75, I think, Max.
75.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know how he did 75. That doesn't divide into 6, but there's got to be.
It doesn't. But if you put 3 guys direct into the final.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay. Anyway, we decided to create a new class at Motown, and it's similar to what a lot of people race, but we're limiting it to the closed cockpit NSR Le Mans cars. And I'm not going to go into this a great deal, but you can see the basic rules. We're keeping them stock, change chassis, change gears. That's about it. So it's going to be a new class that we're starting in July. And here's our full schedule, which is if you're in Northern California, this is the schedule for the rest of the year. And the big thing to notice here, we're going back to 3 races per day. So the first 2 races will be qualifying and mains, and the third race will be a round robin just because of time. So that's the new schedule going forward at Motown. The same 7 classes that we've been running, adding this NSR Classics class, and then going back to qualifying and mains. So that's the program for Motown, and it's drawn a lot of attention. A lot of people saw what we did at the Revo slot and have taken notice of it. So I think we're starting to put Motown on the map as a major player in 32nd scale racing. Okay,
that chart confused me. It looked like you're doing.
So, for instance, on Sunday, June 23rd, we're doing these 3 classes.
Okay.
Here, classes are up on top.
Oh, okay. Now I see.
And then,
for some reason, I was thinking qualifying and mains. I was thinking qualifying and then mains separately, but you're doing.
Yeah, so you can
that's
see
basically just a description of what kind of racing it's going to be, as opposed to round robin. It's going to be a qualifying.
Yeah. So on any given day, you can tell which 3 classes we're going to run, and which of the 3, which 2 have qualifying and mains, and which one will just be a round robin.
How do your qualifying races work? Like, do you guys?
We do. It's just like Electric Dreams. We do 1 minute qualifying. It's your fastest single lap, and that sorts you into a heat.
Sure.
So the fast 6 guys are in the A heat. The second 6 guys are in the B heat. And as you saw from what Dennis said, Mark won the B heat and turned enough laps to finish 3rd overall.
Yeah.
So you are not, it's not like if you get in the B, you can't win. You can, but it has happened once in Electric Dreams where a guy won the B heat and won the race overall because they let Rick Jocham race in the B because he had someplace he had to go. So they allowed him to race in the B, even though he qualified for the A. But other than that, it's never happened. But Mark got pretty close. I think Eddie Shore finished 2nd one time overall from the B heat. So you can do it, but that's the way
it can happen.
Yeah.
I feel a little dense asking this question, but what do you mean by round robin?
Round robin is you got a 6-lane track, and let's say you got 12 people, so everybody just runs through, not randomly, but the computer just sorts it. So you have 6 sit-out spaces. So you run, there's 1 lane where you leave the track and you sit out for 6 heats and then come back in. So everybody runs at the same time all together, not literally all together, but it's just one big race instead of separate races.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Instead of rotating the same 6 guys through a 6-lane track for 6 heats, you're doing 12 or whatever number of guys through the 6-lane track for
Yeah,
12 or whatever.
Let's say you have a 2-lane track and you have 3 guys. One guy starts on lane 1, one guy starts on lane 2. The guy from lane 2 sits out for the 3rd heat, where the guy sitting out goes into lane 1. So you just rotate through like that.
Yeah. Pretty much straight
Maybe easier to
rotational
understand.
racing.
Yeah, maybe
I think I
easier to
have a-
understand based on a
I have an
2-lane
idea.
scenario.
Typical.
I think I get-
That's probably the most common type of analog racing is some kind of rotation where everybody races all the lanes,
Yeah.
not separated by groups of numbers of lanes like the qualifying in mains.
Well, I think in the qualifying mains, you want to race as fast as you can that first time. Then you're racing by guys at your level, so
Yes.
you don't got to worry about racing with a guy who's new and knocking you out and slowing it down. But in
Yep.
the round robin, it's just a mix. You might be next to the guy.
It's all random. Yeah.
So you don't know who you're next to.
Pros
So
and cons to
you could
all
be sitting
different
next to
times.
me and get taken out 3 times in the first lap. You don't know. It's hit or miss.
Yeah, and that's happened where, Ian and I raced pretty close up here, and we've had a 16-car round robin, and I was never on the track at the same time he was.
Yep.
So we're racing for overall laps, but we never saw each other on the track.
Yeah. So it's just like one race is about skill, the other just kind of random, and you try to fight your way through the pack.
Well, ideally, we would like to run A mains all the time, but time constraints dictate that we can't always do that because it's quicker to run a round robin than it is to try to run separate mains.
Yep. Alrighty, well, I'll do a quick show and tell because I've got a minute to spare. I forgot to show this earlier, but I went ahead and picked up the Greg Gaub Corvette because why not? And so now I have a C5 that's blue and yellow in my Revo Slot GT collection. Because
That
of
car is making me think about my no Corvettes rule.
Yeah.
I mean, I was at Allen's anyways buying DS equipment to upgrade my track to DS timing. So I'm like, okay, just toss the Revo Slot on there. It's nice to have Hobby Bunny. So
yeah, why is a slot car? Because it's blue and yellow.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah. By the way,
3 minutes.
there's the non-slot A-Bath that we were talking about earlier on.
Oh, that's nice.
It's pretty.
And that's the chassis. It looks like a Thunder slot or something like that.
Yeah.
The nice part about it is that it has the pod is mounted with a single screw up front and with the 2 screws right at the back. The body's mounted on the sides and up the front here, just in front of the wheels. So they're nicely separated, and you can get fairly nice movement on it. But yeah, it's a nice little car. Comes with decent wheels, although I think maybe I've changed. Yeah, the wheels are original. The wheel inserts are original. I think I have slotted tires on the back of this one. N22s probably. But I seem to remember that even the stock tire wasn't bad. But for my track, N22s just work a whole lot better. But it's very light, small.
Quality gear, Dennis?
Excuse me?
Quality gears on there in standard form?
Yeah. Brass pinion, and I think they're slotted gears, in fact. Both, it's like an 1132 gear ratio.
Mm.
Yeah, if you can find them, they're a nice little car.
Yeah, Electric Dreams probably has one.
I think they've still got some left, yeah.
Yeah, I've looked at them, but they're pretty pricey.
Yeah, they are, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Around
They're getting rare.
They're getting rare now, yeah.
Well, is he still making them?
No.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, it looks like we're
$95. We have red ones and orange ones left.
95 is the current price?
$94.99. Yeah.
That's about NSR money. So
Yeah. Or Thunder slot money.
or Thunder Slot money. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.